So we got Jordan Travis coming back, but we got a lot of other guys not coming back. And the one that jumps out to me is, of course, Amari Gainer. So what's going on there?
Yeah, Logan, this was your guy from Childs High School. What are your thoughts on that one? It's a
legacy. Dealt with some injuries this year, put him behind on the depth chart pretty early on. You saw, obviously, Tatum Bethune. He was going to be in a starter right away coming from UCF. Then you had, Kalen DeLoach make his rise last year and then continue to do the same thing this season. And then you got DJ Lundy there. Brendan Gant came in and played well for some guys that were injured throughout the season. I think Amari is just looking for one more year, another opportunity elsewhere. He's got some connections with a few programs and the staff that they're putting together in different areas. But whenever he came in, that, one of his downfalls was in coverage and, getting eaten alive at some times. And that just comes with it. That's what puts you behind on that depth chart. And, Florida State would like to keep him around, I think, definitely for depth reasons. But right now, he's not going to start over those three that are ahead of him that all are returning next season. I know we haven't heard an official thing, well, not from Tatum Bethune, but we heard it from Kalen DeLoach. Obviously, DJ Lundy will be making return. But you're just not going to beat anybody in that room right now and start over them for a guy that, kind of has some inconsistencies. But there was times this year where he had some flashes, but we only got to see him for a few games. So it's not a brutal loss, but Florida State is looking at true freshman Omar Graham Jr. to step up in this next season, who I'm really, really excited for. One of the smartest players on the team, and there's a reason why he's going to be jumping pretty quickly into getting playing time in 2023. So not a huge player loss on the field, but a guy that's been around for a very long time, and I think he'll get an opportunity elsewhere. It's not going to be a big major name school, but he'll get an opportunity.
Logan and James like to throw on their connections. My connection with Tatum Bethune, spoke to him at Friday's game. I think we're going to be hearing some very good news. If you're a Florida State fan and you like Tatum Bethune, you're going to be hearing some very.
Where are you
good
talking
news.
to him at? What are you doing? Are you on the sideline filming them?
Don't worry about it.
Doing?
Don't worry about the Cheez-It Man. The Cheez-It Man has his connections down here. We've got our people. You've got your connections. James Anthony Coleman's got his connections. We've all got our own connections. All right, bud?
I just really believe that I don't think anybody's just bouncing. Nobody's draft stock is as good as the season was. Nobody's draft stock is like pushing them toward get there. And shout out to was it Battles In? Is that what the name of it is? Because I mean, listen, we get they go on John Ruiz, baby John Ruiz. They're not John Ruiz like braggadocious yet, but Ingram could be that. So like Ingram has the potential to be able to talk his trash. So like they're doing a good job. But going back to the Amari Gainer, Amari is I think Amari is a victim of of too many coaching shifts. So when Jimbo and them had him in there, and if you go back and you look at his high school film was full of him coming off the edge of outside linebacker and literally lighting quarterbacks up. And they didn't. Then Jimbo leaves. Then Taggart comes in, and they run two different defenses with Taggart. They run a 4-3, then they try to go to a 3-4, and which I think he would have been okay in the 3-4. But then when Fuller came in, they shifted to a 4-2-5, and they tried to make him an inside backer, and he's just not an inside backer. That's a whole nother world right there. And I think that's where the struggles came in. But I think he's somebody that if he gets an opportunity, he finds the right fit in the right system. You can still see him get an opportunity to get some coffee or some Powerade, I should say, in the NFL. So very good kid, phenomenal family, hard worker, incredibly smart. And it's a reason why Coach Norvell has such high marks and quote tweeted him when he left. I thought that was very classy as well.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be sticking around throughout the bowl game too. So he and Keyshawn Helton, who also hit the transfer portal, veteran wide receiver, who was big in helping that culture change. There's a reason, he didn't play this year, kind of dealing with some injury stuff. But, the primary reason I think the staff wanted to keep Keyshawn Helton in the locker room just because of the way that he, represents himself, along with being a true leader. When you think of a leader on FSU's team, Keyshawn Helton is one of the biggest ones. Doesn't get talked about a lot just because he doesn't have a lot of playing time like guys, vocal leaders like Fabian Lovett. Derek McGlynn and some other guys, but Keyshawn Helton, a pivotal factor in helping Magnerville, proceed with giving out that message and building the climb there. Just a good kid. Wish him all the best. We talked about him this offseason, just a guy you want to keep in that locker room, and Mike Norvell did that. And there's a reason why you're seeing Mike Norvell tweet about a few of these guys that are intending on leaving his program. They're leaving on good terms, but Keyshawn Helton deserves a lot of credit to what happened with that locker room changing, which was the number one step that they needed to take in order to get to a chance of getting the 9 wins, potential 10 wins, making this turnaround.
So from a football standpoint, no real losses that you guys are concerned about that are going to make an impact.
The part that gives me, I'll actually give FSU a compliment on this one and you guys can touch on this one a little bit. I'm surprised at the lack of high-profile names. Obviously, yes, we're 9-3. That's a different issue. But you're talking about other big-name programs, including Clemson, including other schools that had big names already announced they're going in the portal. Does it surprise you that Florida State has? I mean, I would argue so far the biggest name would be Gainer. So far,
I think one that might kind of would be a hit. I think a talented guy, younger player, Sidney Williams, deciding to go today too. Saw him last year, and we saw tons of flash. A guy that came down hard, physical player, was in the right times at the right times everywhere. We saw the bright future ahead going into 2022, and then dealing with injury throughout camps. And then we don't see him much at all this season, primarily on special teams. You would like to have him in the safety room, or, they moved him down to linebacker this year, but really didn't get to see him play that just because we saw Kalen DeLoach and Tatum Bethune take a lot of that with DJ Lundy. But, I feel like that could hurt them a little bit here. I thought pretty highly of Sidney Williams, just watching him at practice too, a guy that works very hard. Just, maybe not feeling the position change. I liked him more at the safety position, but I think the rise of Shaheem Brown is what kind of did this here. You had Jarquez McClellan too also come in as a transfer, but really I think it was Shaheem Brown. But no matter what, though, you're going to lose Jamie Robinson. I'm keeping an eye on Akeem Dent and what he can do here because, I was expecting a way bigger season out of Dent. He, near the latter half of the season, dealt with injury. I projected such a bigger season from Dent, but if you lose those two, then you're pretty thin there at that safety position. So Sidney Williams is probably the one right now where I'm like, dang, that kind of stinks there for at least the future wise of 2023, in my opinion. Talent. I thought he had some talent.